Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive right into the fascinating reality of what our ancient ancestors actually put on their plates. And, we're going to shatter some pretty common modern myths along the way. So let's kick things off by confronting that classic caveman stereotype. We've all seen the images, right? The idea that ancient humans just spent every single day hunting giant mammoths and gnawing on massive Flintstone-style steaks. Or on the flip side, the idea that they were just fragile foragers barely surviving on a handful of berries. Well, the truth is actually far more surprising, and it tells this incredible story of human adaptability. Here's what we're looking at today. First, the myth of the ancient diet. Second, the hunter-gatherer balance. Third, seafood, sweets, and bugs. Fourth, how fire changed everything. And finally, the ultimate opportunistic eaters. Section 1, the myth of the ancient diets. Now, take a look at that massive 95% slice. For over 95% of our roughly 300,000 years of history, agriculture didn't even exist. Think about that. That tiny 5% slice, that's the agricultural era, which only really kicked off around 12,000 years ago. That means for the vast majority of our time on Earth, there were no farms, no supermarkets, no guaranteed meals. Our ancestors survived solely by finding food in wild, ever-changing nature. And because humans lived literally everywhere, from frozen Arctic landscapes where plant life was basically zero, to dense tropical forests just brimming with flora, their menus were entirely dictated by their geography and the seasons. A human surviving in the Ice Age ate radically differently than a human living near the equator. This completely throws out the idea of a single dietary baseline, and it proves that humanity's absolute greatest strength was our immense adaptability. Section 2, the hunter-gatherer balance. So the crucial point really lies in this comparison right here. Hunting large animals like bison, wild cattle, mammoths, it provided incredibly high-value protein and essential fats. But, it was also exceptionally dangerous and highly prone to failure. You simply couldn't guarantee a catch every single day. Gathering, on the other hand, was reliable. The true backbone of their survival was the consistent, daily gathering of plants. This was an effort largely championed by women, children, and elders, and it's really what ensured the community didn't starve when the hunters came back empty-handed. And just look at the unbelievable variety in this prehistoric pantry. Ancient humans possessed an impressive, generations-deep knowledge of this vast landscape. They weren't just wandering around chewing on a random grass. They knew exactly how to extract valuable carbs from dense roots, or how to safely prepare complex wild plants that sometimes actually required soaking or roasting just to remove toxins. Nuts gave them healthy fats that could be stored away, while wild fruits offered vital vitamins. Without this intricate, almost scientific botanical knowledge, early human populations simply would not have made it. Section 3, seafood, sweets, and bugs. Now, for populations living near the coasts, lakes, and rivers, which acted basically as giant, endlessly restocked pantries, seafood was a total game changer. Reliable access to fish and shellfish provided critical nutrients, specifically omega-3 fatty acids, and researchers believe these actively fueled human brain development. Aquatic foods were highly reliable, especially when you compare them to chasing down large land mammals. Oh, and if you have a massive sweet tooth today, you can absolutely blame your ancestors for that. Today, sugar is literally everywhere. But back then, it was an extreme rarity. Ancient humans treated a beehive like an absolute treasure chest. They risked painful bee stings and dangerously dizzying climbs just to secure those rare, valuable calories. In a harsh, unpredictable environment, sweet foods provided incredibly rich natural energy. So your craving for sweets, it's tied to a survival instinct that is thousands of generations old. Kind of a great excuse, right? Okay, so while a high-protein insect menu might completely shock our modern sensibilities, eating bugs made perfect survival sense. They required very little effort to catch, compared to, say, hunting a deer, and they provided an incredibly nutritious meal packed with high-quality protein, fats, and essential nutrients. Our ancestors didn't look at a beetle with disgust. No, they saw it as a highly valuable, super efficient food resource. Section 4. How fire changed everything. This right here brilliantly illustrates the evolutionary chain reaction of cooking. Step 1. Humans learn to control fire. Step 2. Food becomes much easier to chew and digest. Raw meat and tough wild plants take hours to break down, but cooking completely changes their physical structure. Step 3. By doing this, humans efficiently extract way more energy from their meals and, as a bonus, kill off harmful bacteria. Which leads us to step 4. Spending less time chewing meant all that extra energy could be redirected to support the massive growth of our large brains. Fire didn't just make our food taste better, it fundamentally altered our biology.
Section 5. The ultimate opportunistic eaters.
As the researchers note here, there was no single perfect prehistoric diet. Human beings survived because they were flexible, curious, and adaptable. The absolute biggest takeaway from all of this is that our ancestors were highly successful, opportunistic eaters. They were capable of thriving in practically any environment on Earth, from deserts to mountains to isolated islands, simply by eating whatever worked. They utilized literally every single resource available to them.
Which leaves us with a pretty interesting question. Are you ever going to look at the caveman diet the same way again? The real lesson from ancient diets isn't that we should copy them rigidly. It's that we evolved to be incredibly adaptable. So the next time you hear someone promoting the perfect, strict ancient diet, ask yourself if they're ready to add some raw grubs, termites, and unrefined roots to their plate. Thank you so much for exploring the ancient menu with us today. Keep feeding that curiosity, and we'll see you in the next explainer.